Hi, today we've come back to Scarborough to show you some of the highlights perhaps you haven't noticed. Now, over there is North Bay, which you've got your P-Zone Park, which you might have seen in the video last week. And if we look around here, we're going to walk all the way around there to South Bay. Now, we've got Layla with us today. Say hello, Layla. Scarborough's got quite a few claims to fame. One of them is the company that built the Titanic first started here. Harland and Wolff was a company that was started in Scarborough. Obviously that was its early days. Now the other thing about the Titanic is the officer that went down to say iceberg ahead was from here. He was a sixth officer and he went down with the ship, obviously. And just above there is Scarborough Castle, which we've done a separate video on, well worth a look. It is a huge area, and when you go up there you can see why people wanted to go there. So today is not exactly the brightest day. Hopefully the sun's going to burn through. It's not due to rain, but it is certainly not nice weather-wise. And there's this little pirate ship going for a sail. Something you'll see quite often in these areas. Whitby's got one that they do. I mean, obviously they're only trawlers made to look like trawler boats made to look like pirate ships, but they do look good. One of the facts that most people don't realise is, although Scarborough doesn't have a pier now, it used to. Then it got hit by a ship, destroyed in bad weather. So that's the reason why Scarborough doesn't have a pier. Now there's plaques all along this seafront walk, all giving a bit of information. This one's explaining that in 1914, German swarm ships bombarded Scarborough with over 700 shells, killing 18 people. And this was the first civilians to be killed on British soil in World War I. And it led to a government poster campaign, Remember Scarborough. It must have been some bombardment. And as we come into the main part of South Bay, which is a totally different feel to North Bay, if you ever go to North Bay, it's much more relaxed. That building immediately in front of us, which is covered in scaffolding, was the entrance to Scarborough South Bay. And you would have to pay a toll to enter Scarborough. Obviously, it didn't take on very well and only lasted for a very, very short time. But it's one of those weird things that somebody obviously had a bright idea. Oh, we'll earn some money by visitors. Didn't work. So you can go for a drive along the seafront and see everything that's happening. Well, this is a side to Scarborough that most people don't notice. It has a huge harbour. Pleasure boats, fishing boats, all come from here. Now we're at low tide, hence why they're all parked in the mud. But if you watch our other video, where I spend a bit more time in the harbour, you'll see what it really looks like when it's full, and it is a fantastic thing. There are a few very special boats which I'm going to cover in a minute with you. Now obviously this part is more of a, how shall I put it, full of water, but there's a couple of interesting boats down there. If you see that small boat that looks like an elongated canoe, a rowing boat for 2025 for children in need. If you go back a few years, that's what it used to look like. That's about the 1840s, with the horses pulling all the things to the sailing boats, and you'd have steamboats as well here. And one of the things that you really ought to go visit is this ship just here. And the reason for it, this is one of the very few still existing boats that went to Dunkirk to save soldiers from the Germans in 1940. And as you can see on the front, they actually saved 1,200 people from the beaches, you can actually go in and they've got some memorabilia from the time to have a look at. There's also a bar in there so you can have a drink, as you can see people are doing now. But it's not that expensive either. Cup of tea, £1. Hot chocolate, £2. Can't be bad. But certainly one of those places to go to if you're fed up with the beach. And just over there, you've got a wheel. Well, there's a speedboat going past, we'll say hi to that. But just over there, you've got the wheel, and next to it, a huge building. Now, that huge building is called the Grand Scarborough, and it is unique. It's unique for a lot of reasons, but one of the major things is it's the place that if Hitler had invaded the UK, that's where he wanted to be his parliament for the UK, his control rooms, if you like. He wanted that. In fact, when they attacked the UK, he told his Luftwaffe, if anybody hits the Grand Hotel in Scarborough, they will be dealt with. And we all know what that means. Now, the daft thing is, a little bit earlier, when World War I was going on, the bottom half of it, where you can see it's just bricked, well, that was hit intensely by German boats. In fact, from the bottom, which is on the promenade, to where the windows are, was a ballroom, all sorts of fancy things going on, but it was totally destroyed and bricked up because of that. It's now actually owned by the council. Nobody's quite sure what's stored in there, but I'm sure it's full of some sort of rubbish or another. So that's the Grand Hotel. And the castle sitting there, proud over the top of Scarborough itself, looking down, and you can see why it was a good defended place, over the harbour and the odd 13-year-old girl. As I say, Scarborough is a proper fishing town. This is its history, this is where it comes from. But what that does mean, if you want something to eat, right next to the harbour, you have some great places to eat. Yes, you've got a burger bar. Yes, you've got donuts. But you've also got fresh fish. Mussels, cockles, whelks. Do you fancy a fish sandwich? Perfect place to go. You can go on speedboats. There's the pirate ship that you've already seen. So you can see the area around Scarborough and enjoy it. But they also do fishing trips. So if you want to go out with your tackle, you can do. Great place for it. The thing Scarborough is most known for is amusements, gift shops, pubs, clubs to a smaller degree. But the fact that it covers most things in one place. You want a posh restaurant? There's one right on the seafront. You want to have fish and chips? Places everywhere. In fact, around here, there's one that's won one of the top awards last year in the UK. The Newcastle packet over there has some of the oldest parts of Scarborough still in existence. You'll see there's a church immediately behind it, and there's a wall somewhere in between the front of that and the church that dates back to the 1200s. You want a bit of history? There are plenty of buildings that have been here for a very, very long time. In the 1200s, the king of the time gave Scarborough a unique ability. It gave it a charter to have a fair. And that's where the song Scarborough Fair came from. It was the biggest fair in the world of its type at that time. And that's why Scarborough Fair is so famous. And it was roughly in this area here. that it started. And you'd go and get your fish sold here, your food. It wasn't a fair like we think of wild rides and whatnot. But from this area up to the harbour, there'd be people selling fresh fish, vegetables, all sorts, so that you could actually buy 6 months worth of food in one go, take it home, pickle it, store it, however you did, and you were sorted. Unique place. Well, the doctor's informed us his chameleon circuit's not working properly. The TARDIS has reappeared, but they've got the styling slightly wrong. Okay, so it's not the actual TARDIS, but the police box came in numbers of different formats depending on where you were in the country. Ones that are identical to the one that's used in Doctor Who are very, very rare. This is even rarer. But the idea was, can't find a policeman, go in there, and there'll be a telephone for you to phone direct to the police station. Didn't last that long, but certainly an interesting piece to be right on the seafront. Hundreds of years later, or at least 100 years later. Johnny Depp, stand back. Scarborough's got its own pirates. Now we're leaving the centre of Scarborough and you can hear the seagulls go mental round here. It is a constant battle up there for who's going to be the loudest. And that is the one thing with Scarborough, seagulls absolutely everywhere. But we're leaving this to go to the old town because there's somewhere I want to show you. So come on. And right on the corner is a joke shop. Bearing in mind, I'm 55 and I remember it when I was in my early teens. It has been here forever. And it is not overpriced. It's somewhere just a bit fun. Wigs, some are adult things, but mainly something that anybody can go in. There are plenty of different shops down here. Yes, you've got those. Over the other side of the road, there's a building there that, well, let's face it, looks unique, and why it's not being converted to something I'll never understand. And you've got shops selling paintings, model boats, and some that perhaps not necessarily what most people don't want to see. And just over there is a model railway shop. Not many of them about. When I was younger, you could go anywhere and get it. Now it's mostly online, but that place you can actually go in, get what you want, and go from there. But we're continuing to go up into the old town itself, and you can see by the houses and the buildings, these have got some history behind them. Yes, they may be full of shops now, but you can tell they've been around for quite a few years. So this is what I wanted to show you, the public market. And you'll notice the doors are absolutely huge on it. Heaven knows why, but we're going to go in and have a look around, see what it's all about. What a hidden little gem. Balcony up there, full of shops. Cafe place down here. You can buy your fruit and veg. Let's go upstairs and see what there is up there. Never been in here, in Scarborough 3-4 times a year, most years. Not every year, but most years. So let's go up and have a look. And there is a downstairs area as well, so we'll be visiting that in a bit. I just want to see what there is up here. And look at that place. Absolutely unique, hidden away. And if you don't know to look for it, you'd never find it because it's on the back streets. So, do you want a card that looks like a typewriter? Or perhaps an elephant? Or a car? Now these bring back memories. These are old cars, and you see that Superman one there that looks like a spaceship. I had one that was same size as that Lady Penelope one down there, the pink one, but exactly the same as that. You pressed a button out there, and there was two fists that came flying out of those side things. I've never seen it since, and that's the closest I've seen to it today, ever. You can see there's lots of some unique things in here. Well, it certainly brought back a few memories. Batman car, the Superman thing. There's some that are not so old, but some of them are very old. Like Eddie Stobart, that's not so old, but some of them were definitely 1950s, 1960s toys. Most of them I'd say 70s or 80s. But if you're into cars, toys, make this place on your hit list of places to go to. I brought back a few memories, cars that I'd forgotten I even had as a little boy. Well, let's see what else is up here. So there's one or two places where we've never done anything in. Toilets there, which is handy. Bigger place to sit down. It's the sort of place that you could spend a good hour looking round at everything in it. Candles. I made a few of those in my time, a long time ago though. Perhaps you're more into dream catchers, magic. It's certainly something different, and certainly somewhere that, if you could, I would love to spend a bit more time in. Next time I come back, have a cup of coffee, sit back and enjoy it. But, as I say, there's somewhere downstairs, so we're going to have a look at that now. So we'll see what's down there. Is it more of the same? So this is more arty crafty, I would say. If you're into sewing, wool. Definitely somewhere totally different. You can see that the building itself, I'm presuming, had something to do with shipbuilding or repairs or something of that nature, or fish markets, something. But the vault's obviously downstairs been underneath it where they do storage, but they've turned it into some fantastic little shops. There's space if you want to open anything here.
I still think you should buy them very kind. You can have them both for a tenner.
Fancy crystals. Looks like 78. Or other 33s. But certainly some older records. I'm talking older, not necessarily 80s. There's some there that from that, but some are definitely before then. Bee Gees, Madonna. Quite a few. Could spend a few quid down here. And of course, Harry Potter's left his wand behind. I wish he'd stop doing that. It's not actually Harry Potter, is it? An interesting place. Well worth 10 minutes of your time to have a look around. Stamp collecting. Star Wars stories. They're fairly new by the looks of it, nothing excessively old, but you're into Star Wars. Or if you fancy a bobbly head toy. So as I say, just a little hidden vault underneath. The marketplace, if you like, up there, which I like that up there, but that's the sort of where you'd go and have a wander around and spend your time. There are shops at the sides as well that you can see through the windows for. But okay, the vaults. Certainly worth 10 minutes walk around. And if it's raining, you've got somewhere to get covered by. But that is literally just a few steps from the seafront, not far at all. And just nearby, there's some unique experiences to be had. The point is with Scarborough, it's a seaside resort, but that's not just it. There are plenty of shops, plenty of things going on. Comic world there, if you're into comics. Don't see many of those places about, not nowadays in the UK. But there literally is a bit of everything. And the buildings, you look at that one over there with the blue sticking out, you can tell this wasn't made in the 1900s or the 1800s. A lot of the buildings you walk past, you just look at the shop fronts, you don't realise it, but look a bit higher and they are fantastic to look at. What a beautiful harbour. Now right over there, and we're not visiting it today, but it's on the other video, I'll put a link to it somewhere in there, is the oldest uphill or cliff face lift. And it runs on water. Being reconditioned, it's only a couple of quid to go up and down it. But you have to go right over to the very last of those buildings over there. But it's worth the walk. The Grand Hotel. What a fantastic place. A very uniquely designed place. It was designed based on the calendar. So you've got 12 floors, you've got 52 chimneys, you've got 365 rooms, or at least that's how it was designed. Some of the rooms may have been made larger and you may have lost one or two rooms. But the whole point of it, it was grand. It was unique. And that's one of the reasons why Hitler said that if he was to take over the UK, this place would be its palace. Now, it was taken over by, at one time, it was either Butlins or Pontins who owned it, and basically it didn't work. They ran it down. Britannia Hotels have recently taken it over. They've spent a lot of money on it, but it still is in the getting back to the standards. So at the moment, it's still a fairly budget hotel to visit. So if you want to go see somewhere that's a little bit different and with some major history behind it, hop over to the Grand. Fantastically unique place. There used to be 2 lifts going up one side and then the other side of the Grand. The reason for it, it was such a popular place, they built one and soon realised they needed a second. Well, this one has been converted into a cafe. So a fantastically unique place to go have a drink. The other side is still running and is extremely popular. But if you want a sandwich, if you want a drink, why not come here? It is just in such a unique place. And as you can see, if you look at the back of it, that's one of the cars built into it now as part of the restaurant. This is a uniquely famous bridge in Scarborough. You come into Scarborough on Valley Road and this is what you go under. But what a lot of people don't realise is what it's going over. Over there you'll see 3 metal things parking out of the ground next to that round shaped park bench area. And that was the entrance to Europe's biggest sea life centre. And literally all this area here was one huge sea life centre, And that entrance down there was one of the entrances to it. It was so popular that the hotels were built at this side of Scarborough, where Scarborough was before that the North Bay. This was basically the quiet end. But because it was built here, it was, shall I say, one of the biggest attractions in Yorkshire. But you can't see anything of it now. It's all disappeared. And it was the second Sea Life Centre. The first one, I believe, was in Brighton, but this one was sort of 5 times bigger than it. And it was very ornamental underneath. It was very, very special, but it's gone now. And the other thing to see, that building there, that's a museum. That'll show you some of the history of the place, including the Sea Life Centre. It's well worth spending 5 minutes coming to visit. And at the other side, you can see the roundabout goes to the underground car park. That again was part of the Sea Life Centre. All this area was. It was totally unique. And when you walk along the seafront there, you'll see little signage. You go through the arcade into the car park, little signage all about sea life, because this area was such a unique place. And it was gone, never to be seen again. It's one of those places that nowadays, if it was here, would be mega. However, there is a Sea Life Centre right at North Bay now, so you can go to that if you wish. And this bridge gives you a fantastic view of the whole place. If you want to take a photo of Scarborough, this is the place to come to take it. And that's the back of the cafe, and you can see where the trams used to go up and down. Well, they almost named the steps after us. And we're going to go down the McBean steps. And you'll see is the other one that's running. There was actually a third one running, but that was in North Bay. And due to landslide and weather, that went. As I say, North Bay used to be, Victorian times, the place to go. But over the time, South Bay, with a better beach, became the place, because obviously Victorian times you didn't necessarily bathe as much as you did here. You'd have your little horse and cart dragging your little stall into the water to feel the waters. And at the other end of Scarborough was the place where you took your spa water, which, if you see my other video, you'll see the actual spa itself, the actual where the water came out from. And there'd be one going at either side of the Grand, because it was that popular. As I say, there's one, that the oldest one, that's right up at the other end, on the very end of South Bay. And at North Bay was where the, well, sorry, it'd be the fourth one then at North Bay that's now gone. If you come here, I would strongly suggest, of all the places selling donuts, this one. You get more for your pound, and they're some of the best donuts that you'll find in Scarborough. If you want a fish and chip shop with the best view, this is it. Because you can go upstairs and you can go and have a look out of there and see everything that's going on. We've been here a few times with the kids. Lovely place, but right at the top you've got a great view to see what's going on. If you're coming to Scarborough and you want somewhere that you know you're going to be okay for chips, Papa's. It's like a chain that, like you get your McDonald's, they're good, maybe not the best in the world.
So there's no way that's...
You know you're going to get something you're going to enjoy. So the fish and chips and whatnot, Papa's, if you come across one of them. Next to it, you've got Flamingo Bay. I'm sure that used to be Jack and Ellie's. Jack and Ellie's was a staple in Scarborough, famous for its lemon top ice cream and things like that, but not so long back, went under. I don't think anybody wants to take over the family business. And Harbour Bar has been here since I was a young lad. And it's the place to get your knickerbocker glories and anything ice creamish. And it's on the slightly higher side of price, but it's not ridiculous. You can also get ice creams and whatnot to take away. But if I was coming here for something to sit down and have something a bit special, knickerbocker glory at the Harbour Bar. And just next to the Newcastle Packet is one of the best fish and chip shops in the country. So if you've got 5 minutes, well worth walking that a little bit further to get to it. And there's quite a unique antique shop literally opposite the fun fair. Look at this for a gun. Now, you'll look here, there's a QR code that you can scan, and it tells you a lot of the history about Scarborough itself. So if you fancy finding out a bit more, just get that. And just a few steps further up from there is this unique history box, or a phone box to you and me. And all you do, you go in there, and it tells you the history of Scarborough. Right, so there was a rumour that somebody called Elvis was dead. Well, apparently not, because he's coming here on 24th of August at Spa Open Air Theatre. If you want to meet Elvis. Trump gets absolutely everywhere. I don't know what there is to say about that. So, taking a little walk around Scarborough, showing you one or two things that perhaps you wouldn't have noticed. If you would like to know more about Scarborough itself, there's another video which we filmed last year, which I'll put in the link. Have a watch of that. That'll give you more of a rundown of the family side of it more than the other bits and pieces to have a look for. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.